Hello and welcome in next episode of Polish Plate. Today I would like to introduce you to very famous sweet recipe. The one will be Kutia, which is I think one of the oldest Polish desserts, and the other one will be makowiec, which is kind of cake roulade with poppy seeds. For the Kutia we need few ingredients. The first one, it will be the wheat. To make it more easy for you, I choose the barley. It's much easier to get at the store. The second one will be the poppy seed. This one is steamed and ground already. The next one is candied peel of orange, some dry raisins, whole walnuts, almond flakes, and some honey.
Kutia is a very intriguing dish because nowadays no one knows the origin of its name. To prepare it, you will need 250 grams of wheat or barley, the same amount of ground poppy seeds, 200 grams of honey, 200 grams of nuts, 100 grams of almonds and raisins, and candied orange peel.
To prepare Kutia, first we need to cook our barley. This one was soaked in water for 24 hours before. It will help much with the cooking process. Drop it in, stir it a little bit and cook it for around 35 minutes. Barley will change the size and it will be completely cooked. The barley is cooking, we have time to roast some nuts. My pan is already hot. I will drop some almonds and meanwhile I will chop some walnuts. The Kutia is kind of very rustic dessert, so you don't want to cut it too fine. Like this. I will roast them for 2-3 minutes for nice golden brown color and for the beautiful aroma. The next step is to combine the rest of ingredients. I will start with the poppy seeds. I'm using ready poppy seeds. This one are steamed and ground. But if you would like to use whole poppy seeds, you should cook it with water and some milk for around 5 to 10 minutes. Then you need to let it drain and then grind it twice. The next ingredients are raisins. This one are dry. I will drop them right here. We're gonna put some water later so they will rehydrate a little bit. And the next ingredient is candied orange peel with the beautiful color and amazing fresh citrus aroma. I will drop them inside. And last one, very important for Polish dessert and very traditional ingredient, honey. Quite a lot because 200 grams. So we got poppy seeds, we get raisins, honey and candied orange peel. Now it's time for a little bit of water. If you cooked your poppy seeds before, you don't have to do it. Now mix it. You can already smell the aroma of poppy seeds. That's always remind me about Christmas. For us, that's really typical dessert for the Christmas Eve. The nuts are well roasted, nice golden brown color, full of aroma. Now it's time to mix them with the rest of ingredients. The base is ready. Let it sit for 20 more minutes while we are waiting for our barley. Our barley is fully cooked. Now it's time to strain it and mix with the rest of ingredients. Very classic and traditional combination, full of taste, full of sweetness. Smells so good already, and normally we used to serve it like room temperature, so it should cool down for around 1 hour. You can already feel the sweet aroma of the honey. We put almost 200 grams for this dessert. So the kutia is very traditional, very rustic dish, and it's served simply like that. The next dessert for today, it's very famous makowiec. I think it's one of the best cake we have in Poland, and that's basically is dough with some poppy seed stuffing. So to prepare, we need quite a lot of ingredients, as you see, because the stuffing is very rich and full of dry fruits and nuts. For the dough, we need some flour. We have some butter, regular unsalted butter, an egg yolk, some fresh yeast. If you have a dry instant yeast, you can use it as well, but you have to remember you should use 4 times less amount than fresh one, some sugar and some milk. To start, we're gonna combine all the wet ingredients in the sauce pot. We're gonna warm up the milk a little bit, we're gonna dissolve the yeast inside, then we're gonna add egg yolk, some sugar and butter, and in the end we're gonna combine it with some flour.
Let's begin by preparing the yeast dough. You will need half a kilo of flour, 100 grams of butter and 100 grams of sugar, 2 egg yolks, 140 milliliters of milk and 40 grams of fresh yeast.
The first step is to warm up the milk. We want to warm it up around 40-45 degrees, no more, because then we can kill the yeast. So it's very important to keep very low temperature. After that, sugar straight to our pot. I will use a whisk to melt it completely. I can feel the temperature is good enough, so I will turn off the heat. And the next one, yeast. I will crush them in my hands for smaller pieces. And the last one, butter. Now we're gonna whisk it together. All the ingredients are combined. Now it's time to transfer them to the big bowl. And one last wet ingredient, egg yolk. So it's very important to keep low temperature around 35 degrees to avoid set the egg in our mixture. And now it's time for the flour. I will change for the wooden spoon and I will start adding flour little by little. And we can start to mix our dough. In the beginning, dough will be quite wet, but don't worry, the yeast will help us. Later on, they will produce some gas and the dough will become much more thicker. The next step is to take our dough on the bench, and we're gonna knead it like every yeast dough to make it smooth and elastic. You can feel it now, it's already silky when you touch it. Needs few more minutes of kneading for better elastic. Our dough is ready, well kneaded. Now it's time for icing. During this process, the dough should double the volume. The next step is to prepare the filling for our dough. We're gonna start with ground and steamed poppy seed. You can easily find it in a store. We're gonna use some butter for rich taste and flavor. The sweetness will come from the honey. And we're gonna have some walnuts. From dry fruits, we're gonna use apricot, raisins, and cranberry. And for the extra aroma and extra flavor, we're gonna use candied orange peel.
Poppy seed cake is probably well known in your country because it can be even found in Greek mythology. To prepare the filling for the Polish version of this cake, you will need 250 grams of poppy seeds, raisins, dried apricots and cranberries, 25 grams of each, 35 grams of walnuts, 35 grams of candied orange peel, 30 grams of honey, 50 grams of sugar and 10 grams of butter.
So let's start it. All we have to do is melt the butter in our pot. If you have very soft room temperature butter, you don't have to melt it. Mine is a little bit hard, so we have to do it. And we can start putting all the ingredients together in our mixing bowl. Poppy seed, honey, raisins, cranberry, and some orange peel. Like the last one, I will add some apricot, dried one, and walnut, but we're gonna chop it a little bit for the better texture. So the filling will be spread on our dough, so we try to avoid too big chunks of fruits or nuts because that can destroy the texture of our dough. During the rolling, that's a very important step. More or less all the ingredients should be the same size. Melted butter from before. And the last ingredient is water. Because I'm using steamed and dried poppy seeds, we have to make it more moist one more time. And mix it, all the ingredients together. This stuffing should be moist enough so you can easily spread it on our dough. I see it's quite dry still, so I will add some more water for the consistency. And that's it. Our filling is ready. If you would like to put maybe fresh orange zest or maybe lemon zest or even some alcohol like dark rum, it will fit perfectly here. So the next step is to roll out the dough, lay our stuffing and make roulade. The dough is well raised. You can see it and you can feel it. It's very fluffy and light. So now we're gonna roll it out for a square around 1 centimeter thick. I will dust lightly my bench with the flour. Press it with your fingers from both sides. The next step is to put the poppy seed filling on top of the dough. You want to keep free space from each side, about 2-3 centimeters. It will help you later to close the dough from each side. And I think this is the most technical part of making makowiec, to roll the dough, to assemble the roulade together with the filling, like that. For me, it's very important to have more filling than the dough. So I use almost all my poppy seed stuffing. Remember to keep 2-3 centimeters clean sides of the dough, so it will be easier for you to roll it. And after that, you start rolling from the end to the top of your dough. After that, put both ends under the dough. The next step is to transfer our poppy seed roulade on the baking paper. That's a very important step because this will help you to keep the shape of the dough. So I start with the top part on the cutting board. Now I lay baking paper and roll it twice. And now you should have like 1 centimeter space between dough and baking paper. That's time to transfer our cake on the baking tray. And now we're gonna bake it in 180 degrees for around 40-45 minutes. "45 minutes ago, now it's time to take out our cake straight from the oven. Now I'll gently roll out our dough. Look at that beautiful shape, beautiful golden brown color. The dough should cool down completely, so it takes around half to an hour, and meanwhile we're gonna prepare icing for the decoration. Few simple ingredients: icing sugar, lemon juice, and for the topping we have some almond flakes and candied orange peel. To make an icing, we're gonna combine lemon juice and icing sugar. You can use water if you like, but I think the lemon juice with very sweet sugar works much better for the cake. And now keep mixing for the nice thick texture of icing. To make it more simple, you can use just icing sugar on top of your cake, but I want to make it more festive. That thickness is almost perfect, and I'm sure it will hold our topping on top of the cake.
The basic recipe for icing is 120 grams of powdered sugar and 18 grams, about 3 teaspoons of lemon juice. However, if you find that the mixture is too runny, you can always add a little more sugar. If the icing is too thick, add another teaspoon of lemon juice or warm water.
Makowiec cooled down completely. Now it's time to work on the presentation. So I will just pour icing all over the top of the dough, and I will spread it a little bit with the spoon to the sides, and after that we're gonna sprinkle our topping. Now it's time for almonds and candied orange skin. I think the nuts and the orange give some extra aroma for that beautiful cake. Now I will let it set for 10 to 15 minutes before you can slice it. Look at that beautiful snail inside. The shape is just beautiful, full of filling, and that's how my grandma used to make it. Kutia and makowiec are two desserts very close to my heart. We often make it for Christmas, but you can try it like everyday recipe. I would like to invite you to your kitchen and try our Polish desserts. See you in the next episode of Polish Plate.